The wheeling term came from the Euros. I get really hyped in my stream and stuff, and like I'll be like going off like talking crap to the other team, and they started saying wheeling. 8 European pros like subscribed to me at once on Twitch. Like, what the heck's going on here? And then they all tweeted me like wheeling. I was like, what is this? And then I guess that's how it started. I don't know. I don't ever realize it when I'm playing. Like, I'm just focused, like calling out to my teammates, like just trying to win. So I don't really realize it, and I'll pull up the back button at the end of the game and be like, oh yeah, I was cooking that map.
Is there a stage beyond wheeling?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there is. You're gonna see it this weekend. It's called the blacking out stage. I black out, dude. That's when the dad head goes below the eye, below my nose. You're not even gonna see my face.
Is that man right there going to be wheeling? That is the question. They're going to need him to turn up if Evil Geniuses wants to steal a win against our toughest team here in the red group. Luminosity is unbeaten so far after coming off a massive win at the CWL Anaheim Open. This is basically #1 versus #3 on our leaderboard at the moment. EG trying to lock in that second place, trying to get right up there with Fnatic. How can they get it done? If you're gonna beat Luminosity Gaming, we know it didn't go their way, but they were able to steal the Search and Destroy in the first meeting. Joe, what's gonna be the key to victory for EG?
I think they have to win a respawn. Their Search and Destroy has been basically perfect this entire weekend. They're able to get it to a Game 5. I think the pressure will be on Luminosity. I mean, they're 3-0. They don't have too much to worry about. But if EG, if they can win this game, they put a lot of pressure on the teams they'll face tomorrow because, again, they'll go in tomorrow having to face just Fnatic and Mind Freak, while those guys will have to play Luminosity. So this will be a huge sort of weight lifted off their shoulders.
Now, these two teams, of course, met up in the winners bracket semifinals back at Anaheim. It was a 3-0 in favor of LG there. Yesterday, it was a 3-1 in favor of LG. Who's been the toughest player for Evil Geniuses to get past, Momo?
For me, it's been, you know, I'd say overall, I'd go with Havoc. You know, his S&D's been on point, but this can't just be one player going off. Every single player needs to be on the same page. Every single player needs to be going off because this team is the best team in the world right now, and the slaying power on their respawn is incredible. And you asked Joe a question before, you know, how do they do it? They need to win either their first hardpoint or that uplink. They can't win that second hardpoint in my eyes. If they go like 2-1 down, for instance,
right,
they're not going to take the Game 4 and Game 5, I feel. I think they need to take either Map 1, they obviously need to take that first Search and Destroy, and Map 3. So 2 of the first 3, see that Game 5 out, hope for the best. I don't know.
Is it hardpoint throwback or is it uplink throwback that they have the better chance, TP?
Throwback hardpoint 100%. If EG loses that first map, I write off the series 100%. LG is going to take it. But if they can win that first hardpoint, I think EG's a really good retail team overall. The Search and Destroy has been fantastic. But if Havoc can replicate the quality hardpoint we saw in the previous series, they have a solid shot, in my opinion.
All right, we got 60 seconds, boys. That means it's time for predictions. Joey D.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you listened to me and went Mind Freak for that last prediction. You are now 3 for 7.
That's like 59 point. No, I'm just kidding. It's horrible.
TP and Momo, they're sitting at 5 out of 7.
They took the easy
Not
route.
terrible.
Yeah.
Do you gain some ground here and go with EG, or are you going to go with the LG pick?
No, Luminosity, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just don't see Evil Geniuses. It took a lot of individual performances. They all need to be on for them to beat Luminosity. What we saw in their first match was Havoc played well, Parasite played well. We need all 4 of them. I just don't see it happening.
I've been honestly really surprised by Nagafin, but we'll see what they can do in this series. Prediction real quick, 10 seconds each.
I'm going to go for 3-1 and give them the benefit of the doubt on the S&D.
LG 3-1. Octane hasn't even looked that good yet. If he steps up, it's going to be a clean wipe for LG.
They're calling LG across the board. We'll see how this one plays out. We got our casters ready for the final match here of day 2. Let's send it over to Maven and Mr. X.
I think we both agree. And can EG win? Yes.
It's possible.
It is, but LG has just been too good. And what's scary, they mentioned Octane not playing maybe up to par, and he has been feeling under the weather, but the scary part is everyone else has stepped it up. I mean, you've seen Slack go off he needs to, Classic on a 12 streak, Saints has been electric over the past month. Anybody can get it done.
Saints over the last, 2 events we saw them, you know, obviously Stage 1 finals in Anaheim. It's probably been their second best player.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Well, if you're talking just pure from a slaying standpoint, I guess the influence he has on the map with his raw skill, yeah.
And when he's with the guys on this roster, when he's playing that well and he's that strong, we can say that kind of statement about his play. Like Luminosity is going to be very tough to beat.
On the other side of that, you know, if Octane is having a little bit of maybe of a slower weekend, Nameless hasn't actually been himself per se this weekend. He hasn't gone back to stage 1 where he was just going off completely. If they're able to turn it around, if Nameless has a good series, maybe you got a chance. But talk to me here. What do we have coming up for the stats?
Yeah, it'll be throwback hardpoint. Kick things off. LG very good on this game mode, 7-2 since Dallas, tied with Optic Gaming for the best record. So not a good map draw for EG to kick things off. When I interviewed Nagafen, though, he did mention that they've switched Nameless, you know, off to a K-bar and put an E-Rad in his hands, and that's what made the difference in stage 1, right? Nameless playing a little bit slower with the AR. They threw the K-bar in his hands, started playing at a faster pace. So energized this EG roster. Maybe they can work up some of that magic here today.
I don't know if that's a good thing. They're constantly changing, but then at the same time, you know, you have a new person on the roster, so maybe that mixes stuff up. But yeah, I think it was NV4 to a K-bar, and he switched to Centurion as well during stage 1. Now, we saw him with the E-Rad a bit for sure on Frost. We'll see if maybe he uses it throughout the course of this series. But Saint's the guy we were highlighting. He's just been playing, you know, some of the best Call of Duty he has in his career as of late. We'll see if he can keep it going. Classic picks up a couple. The next 2 line up in front of Saints. He's trying to find the final kill. Just got away with his life. Nameless is dead.
This is the best I think Saints has been playing since Ghost. I mean, you remember back to Call of Duty Ghost, he was so dominant on that game. Every event you would go, and I mean, he was just so strong and never really had a bad event throughout the entire year. The beginning of this year, he was lackluster. A lot of people questioning, you know, hey, the other 3 guys, so good. You know, Saints, he's been a very good player in the past. Like, why can't he get it going? Just trying to, he's never really been on a team that's had this much firepower before. So I think just trying to figure out his way. And now I think instead of, you know, him trying to adapt to Luminosity, the other 3 guys have just kind of adapted to the way Saints plays, letting him kind of find his game. It's definitely worked.
Yeah, it works well. I think that pairing with Classic up front, you know, Classic was joking about, you know, Saints will bait him sometimes, but I was like, hey, man, if that's your role, if you're the first guy in, as long as Saints is picking up those kills, if he's trading it, you know, picking up 2-piece after you fly in, it's fine. And he has been doing exactly that. There has to be a guy that's an entry. There needs to be somebody there to clean up the kill, and I think that cleanup tandem you have from Saints and Octane, you know, from the different positions has been just phenomenal.
You don't mind baiting for somebody when that person is playing well and picking up the kills.
Yep.
You only mind baiting for somebody and giving your own life up when that person is not playing well.
Well, what's more frustrating than when you know, get somebody one shot and then they don't finish the kill, right? It's one of the most frustrating things in any FPS you're playing. It has to be up there.
I actually can't tell you about that because I've never baited for anybody. I only bait teammates. So I can actually never tell you how that feels.
Well, let's get back to the action. Luminosity.
You know it's true, too.
It is true. It's true. You were the worst team player I've ever gamed with. But
funny, I was a coach, but I'm the worst teammate ever.
But, you know, we saw what was the lower third as we came into this. It was 7-2, the record for Luminosity on this map. And Mode, you can see a big part of why that's happening. So think about the lead they enjoyed on Breakout against EG yesterday. They opened up with, what was it, like 100-4 or something like that. Now they were up 61-5. EG starts to rack on some more points, but you can't have a slow start against a team like LG.
And it's got to be a mental thing for EG, right? I mean, you start off these games and you get blown out yesterday against LG. Really ugly on Breakout. And now this one starts off and you see the score, it's just mounting up. You start to, in your brain, kind of get shades of yesterday's game.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, after that game 1, there were some really, really tight matches. You know, they take the search, the uplink goes to overtime. You have a much closer and competitive game 4. I think if EG learned anything yesterday, it's 2 things. You can't have a slow start against this LG team, and they can hang with them in every game mode.
And I think for EG in this series, this is where you look to see Parasite make its mark, right? You picked up Parasite to do just that. Be able to gun people like Octane at range more consistently on a 3 streak now. 7-7. Doing a nice job just holding down this position at back bus. This is the exact type of play you wanted from Parasite when you got him.
And wisely, he's going to back down, just get re-peek for position. He knows the pressure's going to come. Unfortunately, that's the NV4 of Octane. Doesn't miss a bullet as he hits the edge. Nameless will be the next guy up. The rest of his team has dropped here. He has a ton of work to do. Parasite has spawned over at blue. He's the only man here. He's stuck in between several players. There was nothing he could really get done there.
Yeah, he's stuck between 2 players from the side of Luminosity. Octane goes high off the wall run. Gonna pick up 2 kills. As there's another player in the back here for EG. Octane just cleaned him up inside the hardpoint. Believe he earns the Trinity rockets there. You just see LG's pushes are just so relentless. They just don't stop coming at you. It's just constantly just flying at you, going to challenge you every inch of the map.
Well, I think it's they never let a team get comfortable, right? Especially on a map like Throwback, where the rotations are pretty quick. You don't really spawn out per se. Yeah, yes, you can spawn teams out, but you know what I mean. Like, there's just not that far of a rotation, so they just keep flying and flying and flying. And it's like eventually they're going to break through, right? It's going to happen. Give them a couple cracks, they're going to get in.
And they play so fast that you're forced to play at that pace, and a lot of other teams can't handle it. And then you play at that fast pace, right? You're just going up, you're picking up some kills. Maybe you think you have the advantage. Then you got Octane, who's all the way in the distance. He's just picking off players that are weak. No, 2, 3 players at a time. It's a play style that is very difficult to go up against, especially when the players are so talented on the side of LG, when their shots are so accurate and they're so good with different weapons. It's so difficult to combat it.
Well, if you're EG, though, on the other side of this, you need Havoc and Nagafin to pick it up. Specifically Havoc, in their first series of the day, he was a monster. Going +10, +15 when it was coming to those hard points and just, coming to those respawns. They need that guy. Yes, Nameless has turned it around and maybe started to put on a performance that we expect from him. But you can't have it where Havoc shows up and Nameless disappears. Nameless shows up and Havoc disappears. You need to get a lot from both these guys.
Some nice job by LG going towards that back, taking Nameless out. But I do agree, Maeve, you need a full team effort from EG if you're going to take out a team like Luminosity. It's going to be Parasite inside of the hard point, uses the FTL jump, fantastic play, but it's going to be Classic coming in, picking up 2. The Havoc now flying into the hard point, picking up 2 of his own. Kills just traded back and forth here inside a barn.
Let's see if Havoc can hold the edge. The slide on through, loses him for a second, but finally does clean up the kill. EG now rallying behind this comeback. There's 20 seconds remaining here inside a barn, and Havoc still in cruise control. Trying to snap on one more, doesn't have any ammo in the clip, but his buddy Nagafin there to pick it up. The 2 guys that needed to get going absolutely did inside a barn, and that's the reason you see them clawing back a bit.
Yeah, and it's a huge hill for EG. They get a ton of time on barn. LG will challenge for the last 7 seconds or so. And just trying to get, trying to get these players off of streaks who've been staying alive for a while, but Havoc will earn the Trinity in the Scarab, and EG gets control of bike path. He's going to use, it's going to be a streaks actually coming down from the side of LG right now. It's going to be a Classic and Slacked in the feed, picking up kills. They will control bike path.
Well, the streaks don't connect with anything. Now it's going to be Havoc, I believe, calling them in. Can he find any kills? 2 lightnings come in. 0 kills come through for either side, and ultimately control seems to have fallen with the Evil Geniuses for the time being. Havoc continuing to go on a rampage. He was heavily negative, now at 18 on 18 and leading all Slayers on his team. This is exactly what they need. That's an unfortunate position. You call a Scarab from that spot, nade rail comes in, you're dead.
Yeah, when you see both of the Trinities come out on this hill, it's really just kind of force players under the bridge, make it easier for your teammates, just kind of funnel down there, able to kill them with ease. So, no, not picking up kills with them, not the worst thing in the world. It's mainly used for positioning there. As that we will see Baseball come up. It'll be Luminosity in control of this hill. Kills going in favor of EG, though, towards the middle of the map. Octane's got a big gunfight, not able to win it. It's a Nameless coming through, picking up 1 big kill for EG. He's not able to take out Saints. But here comes the assault from EG. It's going to be Havoc getting inside the hard point, quickly traded out. And as much as EG, they've been putting a good assault here at the beginning of this hard point. Not able, they're staggering right now. You see, they're just 1 player at a time. They need to bunch up. You're not going to be able to get the hill back like that.
Yeah, and as much as you caught Octane off guard, kind of out of position, I was about to say, now he's gotten into his back spot, a power position, but he gets dropped by Nagafin as they fly through, and that's 4 down. All the kills going the way of Evil Geniuses. They're trailing right now by 70 points. Just under 20 to go. They can pick up in baseball field. They've kept it close enough that they can strike late in the game, but it can't get any more out of control in this. We know how difficult it is to rally together big hard points on throwback. They have got to keep this close. And it's getting to that scary kind of mark in the game where if this lead builds anymore for LG, you got to think they're just done.
Yeah, and you do have the active camo on Classic, so maybe if they try and take a lot of time here in the middle, they can use this camo to break over towards Barn, but you see Classic just trying to wrap behind, trying to give his team the spawns for that next Barn hardpoint, but they can't give up too much time here in the middle of the EG. They got to play this, they got to play for this center hardpoint. I think you play for the center hardpoint, use the camo and stuff to break in towards Barn.
So far, this is a fantastic hold at mid for EG. The kills keep going their way. Octane finally finds basically the first for Luminosity, but right after that, he ends up dropping. This has been a flawless hold. They'll be right back in this game. Once down 80 points, now clawing it back almost within 30. The spawn's flipping a little bit. You have a split spawn coming in for Luminosity. It's EG trying to deal with it right now, but there you get the break. You have 2 players, though, set up for Barn. They have got to go huge.
Slack made the biggest play there. He wrapped through Barn, and he was able to get up in the top window and pick up 2 kills, which just forced EG to spawn all the way out. Now his teammates just making the run across the map. It's going to be Classic with camo. Does he decide to use it here?
He's able to finish off one weak player. Still able to hold on to the camo. He's got teammates pushing from both sides, and there's the break from LG. A ton of time here left on this hard point. They can win it if they can lock down Barm.
And they didn't have to burn camo here. Huge for Classic. Now he's going to pop camo. Knows he needs to hold on the hard point. Not able to pick up kill number 2. But it weakened Nameless just enough that he can't fly in. Octane finishes him off with the nades. And now it'll be EG. Force a break towards the top side of this minimap.
Yeah, and you have to keep soaring in. You have to contest to the final second because how close this one is. Yeah, now you've got enough time in here or contested long enough that you can't win it if you're LG. We'll at least see another hard point. Nagafin and company doing a good job busting on through. What do you have to work with on either side? Havoc and Nameless have their payloads. Centurion could come up huge if you even make it to baseball, but more than likely, I don't know if we're going to see it get that far.
No, I think on the side of EG, you have the Centurion and you have reactive armor. I believe you just saw Nameless. He puts down the Centurion. See a streak come out as well as Octane. He does have his FTL jump. No real position to use it right now. See the missiles just raining down. It's going to be Havoc. Has to get inside the hard point. It's going to be Luminosity, only 7 seconds away from taking map number 1.
You have the Centurion here. You invested reactive. I mean, you need to do everything. You have to hold perfectly here. 35 seconds remaining. Classic's 2-piece could be it. He picks those up. Octane then over the back. Nagafin, the last player here, just trying to play the contest fight. His teammates all coming on spawn and pushing from line to look over him. Nagafin still at least able to stay up, but the problem is you have to push through. You have to somehow flip these spawns and fight in. You have no utility to work with to try and crack into baseball. You can't let Luminosity, here they go. They're pushing through, they got the kills. Now you flood the other side, they flip the spawns. That is absolutely spectacular from EG.
That is huge if EG is gonna come back in this one. Nagafin staying alive inside bike path. It's gonna be LG playing for the last few seconds, but EG, they have control of baseball. They have to hold on to this, and it's a big intro kill there from Saints.
Oh, there's a lot of intro kills that come in. Nagafin going to be the last man standing. Actually, no, sorry, he has one player to work with here. He wins it. Nameless gets one as well. Now, all the pressure on Nameless. He's able to take out Saints. You see Havoc and company coming off spawn from blue. They've hit the 2:15 mark. They're trailing by 30, and they are definitely still in this game, but they have got to hold finish. 1, the second goes vertical over the top. It's now 2 kills through for LG. Matt, they're looking to break here.
Yeah, Nameless can use that Trinity rocket, and you see it coming in. It's going to be able to get one player with it. Havoc with another. Nameless with a second with the Trinity rocket. Now it's going to be Classic against Havoc. He wins the one-on-one, and they will take map number 1. It'll be Luminosity taking that one versus EG.
It's tough. I mean, you've played 5 maps against LG. You've now played them very, very tough. And 4 out of 5 of these. It's just, I guess it represents a little bit, I mean, not as bad of a lead from the game 1 breakout they played on day 1, but still, you gave up a pretty hefty chunk of a lead. And when you compare, like, a 60-point lead in this is almost similar like a 100-point lead on something like Breakout, with the way the maps play. So you give up a very big lead early on, you're trying to fight from behind the entire time, and you just don't give yourself enough space to work with.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that one map yesterday, EG has played Luminosity as tough as we've seen almost any other team play them. They've been very competitive in all these maps. They just, you know, they get behind so far early that they put themselves in such a difficult position later in these games to make the comeback.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that close games don't count for anything. Otherwise, if it was like a 0.5 of a win, you'd be looking pretty darn good right now for map count. Yeah. But unfortunately, it does not. So you've got to try and take one. Your bread and butter throughout the course of this weekend, if your EG, has been the search and destroy. You just saw earlier today, Parasite just went God mode completely. What did he drop? 15, 16 kills?
I think it was 15 kills, I believe.
Yeah, just an absolute masterpiece of a game from him. But it was interesting. I was talking to Parasite after that, and he's like, it's funny, I feel like people consider me an S&D specialist. Like, they have at a lot of points in my career. They talk about me in Search and Destroy. He's like, no, man. He's like, my game mode is hard point. He's like, I can be a general out there, a leader, making the calls for my team, telling them where to go, giving them direction. He felt really good about the hard points they had in the previous series. They look pretty good there. I mean, that was very, very competitive game one against a very strong LG team.
I mean, personally, I've always thought of Parasite as more of a respawn player, as, you know, not really somebody in the Search and Destroy category. But you see, topping everybody on our leaderboard so far this weekend, heavily influenced by that 15-4 performance, but still playing very good in Search and Destroy. You see Octane up there as well. A lot of representatives, actually. You got everybody from LG up there. You have everybody but Nameless up there for EG as well. So I guess by process of elimination, I'm looking at Nameless in this map, seeing how he plays.
I got all my eyes on the duo of Nagathon and Havoc. I just think, I know Parasite's lead the leaderboard, but like you said, that's mostly due to the one game. They've been consistent throughout the weekend. They've been very, very strong. You know that they are S&D specialists. They pride themselves in that game mode. And Havoc has said, you know, I finally feel like I'm back in that, and in that mode, I guess, where I can be considered that, where I can be an expert in Search and Destroy. He didn't feel like that through most of the year. He needs to show it here.
Yeah, I think I saw Havoc put out a tweet after Anaheim. He's like, I feel really comfortable in Search and Destroy now, and that's exactly what EG wanted. And you remember this time of year, you know, Complexity, this team forms, you know, Parasite and Havoc, they have a pretty good run at Champs, right?
Well, didn't Havoc have like the #1 KD in Search and Destroy at Champs?
So
I could be, I don't think I'm making it up. It's very close to that.
No,
he had insane S&D KD at Champs last year.
I usually don't believe anything you say. That one definitely sounds like it could potentially be valid.
Maybe.
I mean, you remember that Complexity team, they beat Optic in groups.
Oh, because Optic
forces Optic to play Envy in round 1.
Optic couldn't win a Search and Destroy at Black Ops 3 Champs if the other team wasn't playing.
I mean, probably would have won that one. Would have been close. Would have been close.
It would have went to a round.
Went the distance.
Yeah, round 11 due to team kills.
Yeah, no, they couldn't win an S&D at all. But I know that team, obviously the Complexity team, they formed. They have a good run at the end of last year. Maybe this EG team can kind of turn into a little bit like a mini Complexity team from the end of last year. Make some upsets. You know, here obviously in Stage 2 of the Global Pro League and going forward to Champs.
Well, I want to do that real quick just to have a fun conversation. So for me, like, who would you compare these teams to from last year? For me, it's like, as much as Envy ended up being the bane of Optic's existence at the end of last year, you know, Optic kind of led the way all year. Envy started to take over toward the second half. I feel like LG's kind of taken on that role in a way, especially the fact they keep matching them in winners round 1, which was like Envy's thing towards the end of the year as well. Where do you put EG? Is it sort of, I mean, I think that you have to put them above the Complexity thing in the sense that they've been finishing top 8 consistently.
Without a doubt, yes.
I'm just trying to think of where they kind of fall into the threshold from last year.
I think they're a real threat. I mean, you look at some of these teams, right? No, a lot of roster, no rumors going down. Maybe no teammates are not on the same page. EG, you know, they come in here, they've playing pretty well. If they can get on the same page going forward, you know, they have very good S&D play. If they can figure out the respawns, this can be a team that can definitely upset some people later in the year.
And I think what's nice, too, is you definitely, I think any of the former pros on the desk could attest to this. There are players that perform at Champs and sometimes players that do not. And you have... when you have guys look at like Nameless, I think his best event of all time, I think, was back at Ghost Champs. He was phenomenal there. Parasite also has been very good at Champs. You got some guys that I think just, they aren't really fazed by the pressure and they could have incredible events. I'm curious to see what kind of run they make.
It is really important. I mean, you've seen guys come out at Champs and not play their best. It's just a lot of pressure on the line. I mean, it's the biggest tournament of the year every year. It's kind of like our Super Bowl. Some players can handle it, right? Some players love it. Some players, they just kind of crumble. It's really easy to talk and say you're going to go and like play well and then actually show up and actually do it.
Well, I know people always try to draw comparisons between sports and esports, and I think there are some, and there are obviously a ton of differences, but that's one where I think you can match it up very much. When it's a big game, there are players that shine and players that don't. Just like, you know, you see somebody in a final in the NBA, just like all of a sudden they go from destroying all season and they fall off during the playoffs. I think you see similar things happen in Call of Duty for sure.
But I feel like it's something that's learned. It's not like you can just go up on the main stage, you're in your first final, and you're just kind of cool with it. Like, you need to really kind of get there to play in one and understand it. And it's kind of rare players that win like their first ever like grand final. Like I mean, this is way back.
That's why United was such a crazy story this year. Like, who are these guys? Oh, they're in first place.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy. I mean, just the energy in the room. You look out, there's so many people there. You feel like the stage like shaking at times and the crowd gets really loud. It's hard to hear like team comms at times as well. it's just a completely different atmosphere that I think a team like Luminosity, right? That's the one thing I would have been worried about this team going into the champs. It's like, you know, that big game experience, right? You know, they've done it before, they've come up short. I think it was a huge confidence booster for them to actually get there and get it done.
Yeah,
like get there and win. And I think since you've seen them win, it's just a completely different mindset with this team. Like, they come in with a little bit more swagger, like they've been there before, they know they can get it done. I think it's huge for the squad.
And guys, thanks for bearing with us. I know we're covering topics from all over Call of Duty currently. I believe there was a controller malfunction for one of the players. They're getting that situated right now. As soon as they do, we'll be hopping into the Game 2 Search and Destroy. For those of you that have hung with us now during this quick interlude between games 1 and 2, thank you for joining us. If you're not familiar with the, I guess, kind of the weekend or what this month entails, I mean, this is crazy. It's like a Call of Duty circus over the next month and a half. We have 4 straight weeks of Pro League play. It goes right into playoffs. Basically, what, 5 to 7 days off, depending on travel.
Last chance qualifier in there?
Yeah, last chance qualifiers. You then go right into COD champs. I mean, this is a crazy time of year, and $2.4 million up for grabs.
It's a great time of year.
Yeah, yeah.
Get a lot of games in. You're going to see the best teams go at it for large sums of money. And I think this is where you really kind of, you weed out those primetime players from guys who, you know, just kind of show up, they get a good placing, they're cool with it, and they go home. I think this is where you really see the stars come out.
There's a lot of grinding to do, a lot of scrims, and a lot of money to play for. But I believe we got a shot of the game loading, so we will be going into it. EG, you see, has been undefeated in Search and Destroy. We'll see if they can continue that here. I mean, they have to. If they lose this game too, you got to think this series is all but over.
Without a doubt. Retaliation, Search and Destroy will be a huge map for Evil Geniuses. Undefeated in S&D, but LG, they've looked good in S&D as of late. I remember months ago we were talking about it. I was like, if they get to 50%, they'll start winning tournaments.
I'm not
gotten 50%.
I'm not going to stop talking about that or bringing it up because it's just been such a flip, specifically with Octane, man. I know he's the first to die on the side of LG, but statistically, like, just go back. If you're at a computer right now, go look at Octane stats from Vegas into Atlanta into Dallas and just watch. All of a sudden, it goes from 0.8 S&D KD to 1.2 plus consistently, just like overnight.
I believe at one of them it was like 0.6.
Oh, yeah.
It was like not pretty at all.
It's one of the biggest, most drastic changes statistically I've ever seen for a player. It's absurd.
Well, speaking to him a little bit the other day, it sounds like they were playing at such a slow pace in Search and Destroy, and he's like, look, give me camo, let me call out, and let's just kind of fly at bomb sites. Let's run together as a team.
Well, here, real quick, Parasite playing a sneaky spot. He will end up getting cut down. It leaves Nameless now by himself. Nameless, they have him for these hero moments. 1 versus 2, going up against Classic and Saints. Bomb is dropped. It appears LG quite aware from it. I think he just got spotted. Not a whole lot of time to work with, and he's going to have to just snap here. He's going to not be able to, they're not going to let him take one-on-one gunfight. Classic over peaks. Good job going prone. Somehow Parasite's still up, but finally finished. And I thought that was played really well by LG. They didn't give Nameless a chance. You know, they kept peeking. When Classic got tagged up, he goes prone, makes Parasite go vertical, and then there you see Saints ready to follow it up.
Yeah, I mean,
Nameless.
Speaking of Octane, he's like, we just need to get away from the complicated stuff. Like, don't worry about, like, let's set up here and we'll rotate there. No, you watch this, so then we'll nade here, and we'll just a lot of the strategy they've just completely thrown out the window.
The strategy,
let's fly at people and kill them.
Yes, the strategy is find out where they are on the map
and run
and go. But the first kill comes in for a Havoc. It's Slack catching a couple of nades here in the hotel bar. So playing from behind in round 2 will be Luminosity.
And it's actually a play style that, for LG, that's kind of odd for other teams to play against, right? Because they're used to more, strategic S&D setups and a little bit slower gameplay. LG forces the issue in S&D. Win or lose, this round will be a loss as EG picks up the remaining kills on the bridge, gets around on the board.
Yeah, I think one of the things, at least for the LG side, that stood out as well, and they talked about that in some interviews, but it's been, and I know you faulted them for it. We both have. Like, at times they'd play very aggressive. They would do that kind of 4-man hit, and if it didn't work a couple times, they would just stop doing it, and it would fall apart. But they still do that, but it's different now. They said, like, hey, we adapt on the fly a lot better than we used to what's actually coming at us. And you've certainly seen that excel quite a bit. But on the other side, EG and Nagafin, one of the best in the business with this sniper rifle. hasn't got eyes on anybody yet. He's working with Havoc here to try and control this inner hallway. Nagafen now wide peeking, nobody spotted yet. And they've got complete control of bridge. He's at number 3 on the minimap. Nameless has gotten pushed up pretty far. Actually, he hasn't got far enough to know that they're clear up there, so I don't think they have the information yet.
And LG starting to figure out the action may not be going over towards B. So you see some players on the minimap. It's going to be Saints. Oh, okay.
What the hell?
Havoc just... see, he's done that a few times this week.
Yeah, he has several team kills. That was just weird.
Especially in Search and Destroy. I mean, what, Parasite just runs right in front of me. Just...
Oh, yeah, a little bit of a comms issue. Who knows who the fault for that. Hipfire through a tree there from Nameless, player very weak. And now, 2v3 for Luminosity. Classic and Slack going to try and clutch here.
Is it just me, or we've had really weird S&D rounds?
Quite a few.
At this tournament this weekend. How many, the series that you and Jack cast the other day, how many, like, 1v3s and 1v2s
yeah,
were there? It was like...
They went 1v2, a 1v3, a 2v4, just a bunch of absurd scenarios.
Here we have a team kill at the beginning of the round, where it wasn't even like an accidental team kill. He just kind of shot his teammate.
Not one of those, like, forced ones,
yeah.
right? Well, Slacked and Classic close to clutching up here, but now it's going to be Havoc actually in the 1 versus 2. Good positioning, gets behind 1. 1v1, 13 seconds on the clock, able to slide and dip away. Slacked about to challenge at the edge. Not going to matter. Not enough time. And they're going to get the round win.
And EG somehow wins the round. It's going to be Havoc drawing first blood on his teammate Parasite. Followed up with Nameless, though. Picks up 2 big kills. Grabs 1 on the bridge, flies across. Nice hip fire with the K-bar. As EG grabs another round.
And maybe I've just been noticing it more. It just seems like there's been a lot of, not even like 3v4 victories. Like it's just that man down wins throughout this weekend. I'm sure
like
it's
sloppy play almost.
Yeah, it probably happens a lot more than I notice sometimes, but it just seems like we've been getting a lot of them this weekend.
So it'll be Luminosity's turn on offense. As you see Slack, he's got this great position up on the top plat. First blood goes in favor of LG. But it's going to be Havoc catching Slacked off guard in the corner. It's a big kill. Now if you can get Nagafen set up on this top plat with the sniper rifle, going to be very difficult to get the bomb down at B.
Oh yeah, they're terrified. They heard that first snipe go off. They're like, I'm out of here. That's exactly. That's literally what he did. He's like, nope, I want nothing to do with this. Okay, I lied. He actually wanted to go ahead and challenge. Naga still has not been able to connect. The 2 players for Luminosity have tried to wrap out. Parasite, though, tags up 1 immediately. Nice movement there, man. Kind of fakes towards scaffolding, goes vertical, and backs up and gets the 2nd kill. That was sick stuff.
Yeah, smart place there from Parasite. Nagafen,
ooh, the oop-de-oop.
It's the pressure that Nagafen put on with that sniper rifle. Just kind of pinched the players on LG down in that lower street. EG showing their S&D dominance, have not lost one all weekend. Now up 3-1 here in map number 2 versus LG.
Can you explain to me where the whole, actually before I started commentating is when that was said all the time, is the whole S&D wins championships. You know, when you have hardpoint as 2 game modes in most years we've played, and S&D also is 2, where did that originate? Like who sort of started pushing that concept? I'm just curious if you.
Not really too sure. It was kind of already like established like once I started to get into the scene as well, and I never really kind of understood it because I feel like it was significantly harder to be better at the respawn game modes than it would to be at S&D. Like S&D, like if you have 1 smart player on your team, he can kind of communicate everything to the team. Like it's not necessarily like as fast-paced as a hardpoint or an uplink and how difficult it is to play with those modes.
I just found it funny because it's always, like you have 3 respawns in a series, you have 2 S&Ds, but I've heard that phrase a million times. And I just don't feel like, at least for quite some time, that might be due to the nature of the past 3 Call of Duty titles, but it's never been the S&D specialist team that are winning championships, that's for sure.
No, they're winning their S&Ds and then going home on Saturday.
But we do have a 1v1 here with 25 seconds left. Parasite going up against Slack. He does have FTL to work with. He's had some flashy plays with that payload to begin with. Now, going to get bomb in hand. And it just depends on Saints. Saints looks like he's going to get brilliant timing on this.
Be Parasite getting bombed down.
Yep.
Before he can even get bombed down, Saints takes him out. LG wins another round. But I always did. That's actually a great point that you bring up. I actually find that funny.
I think it's more probably the nature of Search and Destroy in the most recent titles, if I had to guess.
But I feel like even S&D in the previous titles, right? I mean, you can slow the game down so much. It's not like you need to be a fast thinker on your feet like constantly. It was just kind of know the positions, know the basic strategies.
All right, I'm changing. It's hardpoint wins championships from now on.
There you go. which is legitimately true. What?
All right.
Best hardpoint team in the game, just won our last.
It's true, but to be fair, you know, Luminosity didn't win championships until their S&D improved, but I still don't think that that backs up that exact conversation.
Well, I mean, their S&D was non-existent. There's a difference. Yeah. There's a difference.
Yeah,
there.
they weren't even playing.
Yeah. I think they would just forfeit and go straight to the uplane.
It was like that for nearly a year.
Yeah, let's just go straight to break. just jump into game 3.
All right, well, slacked here. We're in round 6, and it's Octane, though, in a 1v4 quickly. He is behind a couple of players, just able to spot one. Sam LaRue, can he get it done with 45 seconds on the clock? He had a 1v3 yesterday against EG, in which they all flew at him when he was back bus on throwback. Please don't do that again, EG.
Well, it's a very difficult spot he's in. See the bomb in that location. He's tagged up, has an NV4. You see everybody on EG. They're just grouped up. Not going to try and let the same thing happen that happened yesterday. Gets one, stays alive for a little bit, not able to get another. It'll be EG going up 4-2 here on Retaliation Search and Destroy.
So far, so good in the S&D. It's where they've been strong, and they keep leaving their mark there.
It's funny, we're talking about the S&D wins championships. EG is 4-0 and 3-0 in S&D.
That's actually
winning games.
That's
I just realized that now. I was like,
that's kind of why I started thinking about it. I was like, I don't agree with that at all. But all right, 4-2 edge for EG to tie up this series at 1-1. We'll see as things start to slowly develop. It's Nameless again, that number 3 in the minimap. So this time he pushes up further. So they have all the information in the world. They know this side's completely clear. This will be a very fast bomb plant unless they opt to push through, and that looks to be the play for now. They're pushing around the back. It was Nagafin kind of holding bridge for a while to see if anyone got aggressive on their end. And this might be, it was surprise for a second until they got spotted. Now let's see if they decide to wrap it back or how they play it out.
All right, so now those shots come in. LG knows exactly where EG is on the map. They have an idea. They have control of this back courtyard area. Now it's just determining of what LG wants to do. Do they want to push in through market here? And that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to slide through. Classic's going to go up top. They're going to kill Nameless. And now EG, 35 seconds left. You're in a rough spot. Do you get the bomb down here at A? Do you rotate it back out towards B? We will see Parasite get bombed down over towards A.
Okay. Nagafin sees one for a moment, trying to cut into window. Let's see if they can clutch up in here in a 3v4. We've seen a bunch throughout the course of the weekend. Parasite gets tagged up, but does go ahead and back down. Parasite with a nice nade over the top. Might connect. He does weaken a player, but nobody there to finish out. Over to Nagafin's POV. One easy kill. A second gunfight. Can he win it? He does do it. Saints now by himself in a 1v1. Nagafin left alone as well. 11 seconds on the clock. This is what the plants do for you. Oh, the emote's out. He knows he's got it. This will be a 5th round, and I don't even think he hit a bullet there.
Nope.
Doesn't matter. But
yeah, it doesn't matter. 3 streak for Saints, but EG wins another round, 1 round away from taking Search and Destroy, keeping that perfect record in the game mode alive this weekend.
Okay, can they keep it going? One more in round 8. Offense now for Luminosity, as they're looking to attack. All right, this is going to be a bloodbath. Unless they back them up with nades. We'll see how EG plays this, but this looks like vintage LG. They want to fly and take the fight to them immediately on the backside of bridge. Things have slowed down now. Is everybody trying to get the angle? Just barely surviving is Classic, taking a half health by the exploding van. He's now back up to full and looking to get an angle. Slacked has gotten to a position where he might be able to cut one off backside curve. There, he finishes the kill. First blood for LG. They're still fighting in this game too.
Yeah, I think EG, just from a playstyle standpoint, really kind of throws Luminosity off guard, because Luminosity, they're used to like just flying at players, challenging them, knowing everybody's not going to be body stacked, but you see how close EG plays together. It's going to be Octane taking out Parasite, but here comes Havoc on a flank, and that playstyle definitely makes LG a little bit more cautious as they try and make these pushes. He saw one underneath the car.
Yep, he was able to spot him. I think he's seen 2 now. Looking to get out with his life, or at least play this safe. Looking through the mirror of this exploded Prius. Nagafin comes through, he got the call out from Havoc and finds the first kill. Is anyone going to be able to trade this out? Somehow Nagafin's still alive and pushes through. Slack, the remaining player, will look to be an LG win, suddenly falls apart. Nagafin gets the ace. He just soared over bridge while Havoc was like a bird spotter or some sort. I don't know, he was just telling them where they were. Nagafin comes flying through the sky, headshots everybody.
A great breakdown.
I blacked out.
Well, that's what Nameless said he was going to do before the game.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Come in,
that's true. But seriously, that was ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I don't know how he stayed alive for that long.
Well, remember back, it was Hardpoint during their week in Stage 1. They were playing against FaZe, remember it was Retaliation Hardpoint, and how many kills did we see Nagafin like going high off wall runs on Retaliation, where he was just getting sick angles and finding kills, and like the FaZe guys weren't ready for it at all? A little bit of what you saw there. He's one of the best when it comes to finding kills when he's in the sky. There, so.
I was going to say, he's one of the best at using the movement to his advantage. We see him come up with different spots all the time. I can remember I was out Breach Search and Destroy last year. He would like run on like off the wall like numerous times. He would jump over all the buildings, like see into the spawns. He just uses the movement mechanics in such different ways than a lot of these other players.
There is, I believe, a call out on just about every map played in Search and Destroy called the Naga. I've heard the Naga called it very, very different maps. But guys, that does it. That's going to tie up the series as EG does fight back in the Search and Destroy. They remain perfect. The question, can they get it done in the uplink against LG? We'll find out in just a couple brief minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's time for another riveting edition of the G Fuel Key Player matchup on EG. It's the man, the myth, the legend, Parasite for LG. It's classic. Matt, what do you love about these two guys?
You've heard a lot about the Parasite, new addition to this EG roster. Needed to step it up coming into today. Has played quite better, especially in Search and Destroy. You see an uplink though, around even KD, 0.99. He's got some points on the board. You're going to need to see him put up some big kills here going up against LG in game number 3. On the other side, you got Classic, very good KD, 1.05, putting some points on the board for his team. This guy can do it all, one of my favorite players to watch.
They're going to go head-to-head. Parasite, Classic. It is your G Fuel key player matchup. Let's get headed into the uplink.
Me and Classic have been teaming together since the beginning of Ghost, so we've been teaming for like 2.5, going on 3 years. In game, I'd say we just learned to trust each other. We really know what each other are gonna do. Like I said, whenever you team with someone for 2.5, going on 3 years, we've played boots on the ground together and we've played Jetpack COD.
We're able to talk over plays and communicate what we want, and it really helps us just be on the same page. We've always been comfortable with each other, able to speak our minds, and sometimes we butt heads, sometimes we get along, but it's always for the better of the team.
We just know each other's tendencies, what we're going to do in certain situations, and kind of just know how to lead a team and help everyone get better.
Cross change probably help us because our teamers are already at a top level, so all those teams that make changes have to build up their chemistry and teamwork.
It's coming down to the wire. LG just a couple seconds away. Luminosity will do it. Luminosity will clutch up. And Luminosity will be your CWL Anaheim Open champions.
I still get chills, man, thinking about those 2 hard points from the final at Anaheim. I mean, 6 points separated, 250 to 249, 250 to 245. Those games were absolutely nuts. God, that was fun to cast, man.
Oh, man. I remember just in those final moments, you're just watching the game, and I'm watching the clock. I'm like, I don't even know who's getting points, who's winning. I mean, there was somewhere we were it's almost blacking out. We're just the game ended, and we were just I'm not exactly sure who took that.
Well, yeah, it's so difficult. As commentators, we try our best to, I'll do the kind of play-by-play. You try to, paint a picture of what's going on. So if you're a viewer maybe that's just listening, you can't watch, or if you're watching and new to it, you kind of understand the basics of what's happening. Yep. But in those moments, I'll tell you what, every one of those close hardpoint games, I've had to go back and watch because I've had nearly no idea what exactly has gone down in the final seconds because it's such a cluster. You're trying to stare at the minimap to see if they're going to the next rotation. You're staring at the clock to see if they're going to have enough points to get it. You're looking at also the gunfights that are going on in the kill feed. My eyes are just darting. Once I'm done, that's why you'll see us here out of breath because my brain just goes into overload.
Well, I liked when it was you, Jack, and I, because you guys would just go nuts, right? And I would be able to watch the clock, and my biggest focus was, are we going to another hill?
Yeah.
You guys are so into it. If it goes to another hill, I'm focused on okay, is anyone over there? Is anyone even thinking about that right now? Most of the time, no, because they're just as crazy as we are.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to get to the hill. They don't even think about another hill. It's just a hard point. This has some chaos towards the end of it, man.
Yeah, we've had some absolute just beauties throughout the course of the year.
Man.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
But now it is time for Uplink. Throwback. You saw the stats from Saints. We know how good he's been in just about everything recently, but can he get control here? It's going to be throwback Uplink. Last time these guys played, it goes to overtime. It was a very close game. EG's had several very close hardpoint losses this weekend. Can they pull out a victory over LG?
See some kills go down mid-map. It'll be LG that comes out on top, but they can't really do anything with that advantage because nobody else up for the team. So they're going to play this a little bit slower. Watch angles, try and pick up another round of kills, and then push the drone forward. And you see 2 kills in the feed. Now you see Octane starting to move. Gets 1, Parasite behind the bus, just trying to stay alive. And now look, LG, they have some map position. They're going to need another set of kills, though, before you put points on the board.
And think about the implications for this, just through the group. You got to think Fnatic's just watching this stressed out. If EG somehow sneaks out a win, you're feeling pretty good right now. You got your 2 wins if you're Fnatic. You're sitting in 2nd place. But the fact that you lost to EG today, 3-0, and then when you take a look at it going forward, I mean, you're got to be rooting for Luminosity big time, right?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, there's no way. You need, if you're a Fnatic, you want LG to win this game. You see, though, not good for Fnatic. Good for EG as they put a point on the board here. They get some good map control. Parasite pushes forward. Clears out this lemon area. Easy 1-point play.
Well, so far they're able to find the kills. Let's see, Parasite mid-map. Good use of the movement there. They get up high. All 4 dead now for Luminosity. Can you get into a position to put points on the board? Havoc has the drone, just tosses it forward. This is wise. Just get it forward, get gun up so you can try and find some more entry kills. Does tag up one heading towards the backside of Barn. Maybe open things up for his teammates. Can he help Parasite? Did he see the one player? But did he not see him once right below him?
No, he didn't see Slack.
Or he just thought Parasite was going to clean it up. Maybe it was.
Maybe he thought he was going to get it a little bit faster, but he does not. Parasite, though, gets back towards mid-map. You see Nagafen. He's able to get 1 kill. Not going to spring enough life there into the push to result in points. There'll be a stop on the defensive end from LG.
But again, it's Havoc just being annoying, man. He spawns out blue. He immediately hits Barn. He gets a 2-piece before Luminosity's even able to get comfortable out of their base. And I think Havoc's the single biggest factor here. If he can have a couple of respawns like he did earlier today, that could be all the difference they need. He's one of the players that, I mean, we know he has all the skill in the world. It's just, when is he going to become that complete player?
And we've seen it at times. See, Nameless is going to go with a 1-point throw. It's going to get intercepted. We've seen it at times from Havoc, but it's just, if this guy ever put it, I feel like we said it so many times, if this guy ever put it together on a consistent basis in the respawn game modes, with the way he plays S&D, he would be such a terror for teams to deal with on a game-to-game basis.
Well, I know when he started to really, come on towards the end of AW, and then last year, I mean, I don't want to say, he was just one of those young players that we thought was going to be a top pro, just for sure. Like, you just saw the skill was there. And I still think it can. He's so young. I mean, it most likely will, but the respawn does need to improve. And right now, I mean, look at the scoreboard. He's 14-8. He's crushing compared to everybody else in the lobby.
You just see what he's capable of. And, you know, these teams, they're always kind of putting the pressure on him. Needs to do better in the respawns. When you get games like this is what really excites you about this player going forward.
It certainly does. But now, on with Parasite's POV. He's had a much, much better day too. And there, a kill plus an assist. He sees his teammate die outside of Grandma, so he takes it right back to the mid-cut. Perfect play, 1-point toss, up away, and it's short. So one interception, or it might have been a miss from Nameless as well, and a miss from Parasite. A couple more points you should have on the board. This is, if I remember correctly, I want to say this is the map they played Fnatic on the... Wait, no. I screwed that up earlier. They played Fnatic yesterday, and that's the one that went to the throwback uplink. I think it ended up being a 1-score game. That's the one that went really back and forth on.
Do you see the drone getting back towards mid-map? So Nagafen's pushing forward. It was actually the 1-point play missed from Parasite the first time. Let's see if he can connect. This time he does. So it'll be a 1-point play for EG. Nameless and EG, they've done a fantastic job controlling this top window. And a lot like what we've seen LG do to a lot of teams, put the pressure on constantly, not let them get towards mid-map. EG is doing it to LG to perfection here in the first half.
They certainly have been. Let's see what Classic is able to do mid-map. Yeah, I was talking about their map with Fnatic. They got 3-0 by Fnatic. I was thinking about their Mind Freak series. But they are turning it around here. I swear, man, all these series end up mixing together in my brain.
It's just your brain.
Yeah, it really is.
Not anybody else.
But they have another first half. That's been the thing that I think they've done really consistently throughout the course of the weekend. Is just the first half of Uplink. They've had narrow lead. I think like a 2-point lead, 4-point lead. They've had nice control. It's just whether or not they can keep it through the remainder of the game. We'll have to see here.
It's pretty hard to close teams out. Cannot let a team like LG kind of get some kind of map control, rallying the drone forward, because then the games could get out of control. That's when LG can really strike fast.
You see the shot of LG looking to bounce back here. They blanked. You know, we saw them get beat up in a hard point by Fnatic. We see zero offense really out of them versus EG right now. Just things that you're usually not talking about with Luminosity in a respawn. We'll see if they can pick it up here in the second half.
Looks like some kills going down in favor of EG towards the middle of the map, and Parasite, very smart, realizes needs to get control of this top window area. Goes up, sees Saints with the ball in his hands. Saints trying to go melee him down. Not enough health, and now Parasite clears this towards the top side of the minimap, and I like this decision. You get it out of that mid area, you get it out of that top window, you put it out of harm's way.
Now it's going to be LG's time to try and attack. This should be points. Octane, so good at hitting shots when he's doing some kind of fancy movement up off wall runs. There is a 1-point toss, and LG finally gets on the board 60 seconds into our second half. But with it this close, again, one of those games that ultimately is going to come down to your overdrive and camo players. if the scoreline stays similar down to the final couple of minutes here.
Well, I was going to say, for as good as EG played in the first half, they only got 2 points for it. So
that's what I was trying to bring up earlier. Like they had similar games like that this weekend where they look really solid, but they only have like somewhere between a 2 and a 4 point lead. They haven't really been able to put teams away.
And I mean, when you let a team like LG just stay this close in a game, LG is so good where it just takes, what, one string of kills, and now they put, what, 4, 5 points on the board, and then you're in real trouble.
But it's interesting to see, though. I mean, again, it's like the games where Nameless kind of struggles a little bit. Look at it, it's Nagafin and Havoc, the two that are going off in respawns. And I mean, you like to see it. I mean, obviously, you don't like to see Nameless maybe having a poor game from a slaying standpoint, but when it's getting backed up so well by Havoc, I mean, you got to feel great. If you're watching this right now as an EG fan, just seeing those two guys put up those type of numbers against a team like Luminosity, that's pretty incredible.
It's not like we didn't think they were capable.
It's just we don't see it that often.
It's just we don't see it that often, right? So I think, well, here's going to be a 2-point play. Nameless gets around the corner. Parasite locking down the cuts. Nice play there from EG. That gives them a little bit of a cushion here with 3 minutes, a little bit, actually under 3 minutes remaining.
4-1 advantage. Let's take a look at it. So Octane, only one on their team. He has Overdrive already. Classic still a way to go towards Camo. You had Overdrive available for Parasite. Not going to have Camo up yet. But those are going to be the guys you have to keep an eye on here as we get down to the final couple of minutes.
This could be Luminosity's chance, though. Slack picks up a 2-piece towards the middle of the map. You have a map advantage, but you see EG flooding that mid-cut. Classic in the kill feed is able to get 1. Slack gets this positioning, but nobody else from LG able to get across the map.
And I like this. Just back down. Play your life. You don't want to die and start to stagger things here. Get back to mid-map and start to develop another push, and you get the lead kill. Finally, he does end up dropping, but he's done his job. His teammates now need to back it up, or back him up, and try to make a play. The drone is on the other side of that wall. There you go, buddy. Able to get around and pick it up. Thought maybe he could get it through the wall for a moment.
For a second, I was like, there's no way the drone is like in that fence, right? And then it was like,
no,
nope,
it's not.
Right on the other side.
Okay. 90 seconds remaining. EG holding onto the lead and a potential to take a 2-1 advantage against Luminosity. This is a team that 3-0'd them in the winter semis at Anaheim. They're certainly looking for revenge, and Havoc is going off. 32-19, just cuts down 3. He is screaming. He's got reactive armor to work with. He's about to double up on his Scarab. Can he keep it going? Everybody just melting in front. He wants to pop the reactive. He is just turning and crushing everybody. Plus 15 throughout this entire spree, though. There haven't been any more points put on the board, but thankfully there's only 50 seconds remaining.
Still, Havoc has dominated here in the uplink against Luminosity, 35-20. This would be a huge map win for EG.
Well, think about it, dude. You've got Havoc, who needs to perform right. Saints, who has been a staple of performing recently in the respawns. He's 18-30. That's what you needed if you're EG. I think even in the interviews about this particular matchup, it was Parasite or Nagafin. One of them said, we need them to be maybe a little bit off, and us play our best. That's how we're going to beat them. That's kind of what you're getting.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, this is the best you've seen Havoc play so far in the respawn game modes against the top competition. Picks up some more kills. You can hear him screaming
TB,
so loud.
what did he just yell?
I don't know what he said.
I hope that's coming through, because he might have been standing up and screaming as loud as I heard that. Havoc is fired up, man. Wow. And what a win this would be. I mean, you don't guarantee yourself top 2, but you've taken control. You got to think here. I mean, it makes tomorrow a whole hell of a lot easier, and tomorrow's your day where you don't have to play LG.
It makes tomorrow a lot easier if you're EG.
You can split instead of having to win, possibly win both games, right?
Well, remember stage 1, right? They were so bad on day 1. They came out and dominated the rest of the weekend. Now they're 1 map away from beating Luminosity here in our last series of the day. It would be a huge win for EG.
What's that famous saying? Like, you never want to fight a cornered animal or something. What's that saying? I don't know what it is, but EG, for whatever reason, I don't. TP don't look.
Never want to fight.
No, it's like a cornered. Okay, so I can't think of what it is. But basically, EG, it's like they don't start performing until their backs are against the wall. Until it's like elimination time, then all of a sudden they perform. And there's some sort of famous quote that I can't think of right now.
Don't want to fight a cornered animal.
On Twitter, somebody let me know what I was trying to think of. And if the answer's nothing, I'm okay with that too.
Why are you fighting an animal? Why is the animal in the corner? Are you like approaching it like at a fast rate? Like, are you challenging this animal? That was stupid. That was stupid. EG,
there was something
they
there.
win game 3.
My brain just shut off in the middle of it.
1 game away from winning the series, but it's going to be another hard point. We've seen Luminosity blow them out in this game mode. But do you kind of throw out all the previous results so far? I don't know.
Well, a team that has won the uplink has won every series so far this weekend. That speaks pretty strong then for EG, right?
I mean, they've all been 3-0s or 3-1.
Hey,
so
stop it, stop it.
Highly likely. But
uplink wins tournaments.
Yeah. Oh, man. You're having a day.
I am. I thought it's getting late. It's close to my bedtime. What time is it? Like 6?
6:30.
Oh, well.
You go to sleep earlier than my parents.
That's fine. I wake up early, too.
No, you don't.
I don't.
You wake up and you just want food and then you want to go back to bed.
Like a bear. Sometimes I hibernate.
Maybe you're the cornered animal.
Maybe I am. You never want to fight a cornered maven.
Yep. Be dangerous. But
I would. I'm scrappy.
Yeah, the guys just getting ready for game 4. I think you know, if Havoc can kind of keep that momentum going, obviously that would be huge for EG. That's like really the first bad map we've seen Saints play in a while. I think if I think
Havoc's
be
a big
interesting
part
to see.
of that, though. Like,
oh, without doubt,
when he's going off like that, he basically took Saints off the map. I mean,
I'm excited to see how Saints bounces back or how this next map goes for him. I think a lot of times, you know, you get met with some adversity that you haven't been met with in a while. It's kind of difficult to kind of deal with it again.
Well, and I think the impact that Havoc has on the map is twofold, because not only was he taking Saints out of the map, but the fact that he's getting by Saints and players like Classic, then all of a sudden it's flying more pressure to Octane, so Octane's not getting comfortable in the back of the map and being able to go off. So just being that dominant, and how many of those kills did we see were coming in like the opposite team's ticket or behind their ticket, like forcing towards their spawn, like over and over again, or we'd see him spawn blue. He'd hit barn really quickly when they were on the first side, and all of a sudden he's flanking or getting kills as soon as they're trying to come off spawn. Havoc just dominated there, and that's, I mean, what, 3 out of 4 respawns so far today that he has just been incredible stuff from him.
And then it lets Parasite with the AR. It will pick players off at range a little bit easier, get into those more advantageous positions. So if Havoc can play well in respawns, totally different team this EG team turns into.
Well, the question is, can they do it in hardpoint? We know, you know, Breakout, they got blown out on day 1, but outside of that, all the hardpoints have been pretty close. You're talking 250 to 200 type score lines. They've been in contention. The only issue is we keep mentioning it. They start a little bit slow. When you do that against a team like LG, they're going to bury you, right? You have to start well here. If they start strong, if they can get an early lead, you know, just make 30, 50 points just off the break, I think we're going to have ourselves one hell of a game 4. But if it starts the way it has more often than not, with LG just coming out and just bashing them from the get-go, it's going to be a long one, I think, for EG.
Yeah, it'll be a retaliation hardpoint game 4. We've seen LG very strong in this map in the past, but I believe it was Fnatic who got off to a great start against them the other day. They were able to get a big lead and able to take that. It was a game 1 in the series against Fnatic. So we have seen LG lose this map this weekend. EG, even if they don't win this one, they have been undefeated in S&D so far. Obviously, you would favor them in the game 5.
Yeah, I think you certainly have to, and you guarantee yourself a game 5. And this is such a crucial series. It's kind of crazy though, like how much this is mirroring their stage 1, right? New look roster, similar results.
Very, very similar. So, see Nagafen, we've seen him do that a few times at the start of this map. Have we ever seen him really kind of result in much?
I've never seen him kill anyone doing that.
Yeah. It's kind of cool though.
It's terrifying. I mean, it sounds scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fire coming down on your team. It's a very loud weapon. Sounds scary, but we haven't really seen him get much with it. I wonder how often like they'll stick with that at the beginning of a retaliation.
Well, you know what I want to check out? You know, we went into the EG comms yesterday, and they were a little bit off at times. Sometimes some complaining, you know, useless information kind of be throwing around, not focusing enough on what was directly in front of them. They were down in the series. This time they're leading. I want to hear if there's a little bit of a difference here from the comms for EG. Let's toss it to a team chat.
They're gonna flank it.
I'm getting them. They can already be there.
One's bar dead. One more hallway. Hallway, guys. Hallway on me.
I killed Nick Old.
He naded me. One's Pat. The guy's Pat. Top plat Sam. Top plat Sam is top plat.
Split the hallway. They're gonna be there.
No, they're my hallway. Got one. Nice, good job there.
I got there.
Not dead. That's two. That's two. Nice. Three. Get hill. Watch your market steps.
Got me already on there. He's beyond the tape.
I'll hold hallway.
I got bullets in him dead. Good win. Hold that.
I have hallway.
All right, that's fine. I'm gonna camp this spawn then.
No.
Ivory hallway. Bedroom.
Two hallway. Lobby. Two hallway.
Got one. One more hallway. Pushing.
Very weak.
He's in the hallway. Still hugging the hallway. He's in there.
Bedroom. No. Nice. Last guy's injured in the slack.
Push him quick.
Anyone in the garage?
No, he's still on the hill.
Take a step. He's one shot, but under scaff. He's behind scaff. Hurt by hill. I'm a
That's scaff.
Nice. Good job. I'm rotating.
You guys, one guy's market stairs. Dead. Last guy on hill. Take it. One bullet. I have no ammo, dude. I had no ammo. I can't see him.
One's in new.
Yeah,
He saw me.
Who's weak as fuck?
I'm going big.
We're hurt now.
Okay.
I gotta see him.
Your time. Take your time.
Alright, what's next?
We can break through inner embedded. Well, he might flank bed.
He did not flank bed. He went market steps.
If you guys get kills, this one out. First kill right now, we break this hill. I'm going Marcus.
In hill, Sam, back away.
Close take. Really hurt.
Yeah. Really hurt. But we gotta make a play.
I know, I'm sliding out. Close tank and back. All the way in the back.
In the back, yeah, I'm dead. I tried.
Alright, we gotta get kills.
We gotta go market. I stay alive.
Nice, good job. That's one. Stay up.
Front. We off to.
I'm here with you guys.
He's market jumping over the wall. We can hit front.
I'm going front tank. I'm right now.
If he tries to jump up, I'll hit him.
Laying down. Sam,
two in. No, absolute slack. There's two in. Let's go. I got a both.
Go ahead. There's a corridor. Watch your corridor.
I have your
back door. Watch my corner.
I have corner door.
Back door. He's
on the tank. Watch out. He's on the tank.
We are back. What'd you think about the comms? Personally, I think it was a bit improved from what I heard yesterday.
Yeah, it was definitely positive. Just not resulting, in a lead right now, as you see. It's Luminosity up 100 to 36 and counting. EG though, they do rotate, they get control of Broken, but you did like the comms. A lot of necessary, information in there, and nobody kind of bickering or whining with each other. So you really like the comms there from EG. And even though they weren't racking up points, if you were to just kind of close your eyes and just kind of listen to them, you would think they're in the lead. Like saying very composed, very calm.
And I don't want to say, okay, yeah, they need to win this series, but 2 maps is still good. With the way this group is currently formed, two maps is still great, but if you're EG, we can talk about that, but that thought cannot enter your head right now if you're EG. You want to stick that dagger in, close out Luminosity right now, just go for the kill.
No, I agree with you. I think EG definitely feels confident going into that Game 5. There's probably a portion of them right now who are the back of their heads, like, well, we're down by almost 100. Let's just kind of wipe our hands at this one and let's go into the search and destroy, because we know we can take that one. We have not dropped one the entire weekend thus far. But not getting off, we said they need to get off to a good start early. Did not happen.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was my single biggest thing coming into this game. If they don't get a good start, it's going to be a very long, hard-fought game, and that's exactly what it looks like it's going to be. It's just most of these hard points they're playing against LG, they're just coming in and just getting thumped off the get-go, and it's like, I don't know. It doesn't test your metal. It doesn't do anything. It just makes it impossible to win hard.
Demoralizing.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's like not like can't really kind of point it on one guy, right? It's like not like this one guy's like not performing, or it's just like every time I look up, it's like the entire team is like almost double negative. It's like very different.
Well, I think they know what to work on when they're done this weekend, right? They need to really, really work on the hard points. Let's see if they can get back on the back of Search and Destroy and some close uplink games. But, we went to a listen and we heard what EG was saying. Right now, they're up 130 is Luminosity. Let's hear what the guys have to say.
I'm one from Streaks.
Oh, no, fuck.
All right, what's Scotches? You got Streaks, right?
Yeah, I got a charity.
I spawned out back broken, guys. Spawned out broken.
D, dead. One's on Nables. Nables on absolute plat. He's gonna flank. He's gonna flank bar curve. He's gonna flank bar curve.
I don't see him flanking.
Nables could be bar.
Watch out.
Pitch bar.
Nables move in. Absolutely.
Two on hill.
Nables full pinch. He's wall down. Full pinch. Two lobby inner. I got one absolute lobby inner. Where's Nables? He's
full broken, yeah.
Yeah. Inner one shot Haggy. On hill Haggy. Help me.
Dead.
That's gonna be bar maybe, or flanking.
I'm turning around full.
I'm using a car from hill to get bar inner.
He's lobby inner havoc. He's
think I'm robbing a bar?
Lobby inner weak, Sam, really weak lobby inner.
I'm holding on the other side. I'm
robbing a lobby inner.
Lobby inner close.
What's bar? He's going out of the car.
They both shot.
Someone help me. Someone help me.
Yeah, I have time. It was full bus, one shot.
Two. I got one shot Z Haggy.
I better watch the wall.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back.
Yeah, two back.
Whoa. Came up.
No.
What's the ball? Hill, Naga.
Two more hills.
Last kid.
Hill, Naga, absolutely dead.
I'm
hitting this.
I go for it. I'm gonna go bed.
I'm holding bar, Nick. Your bar inner's open.
Yeah, I'm flying out. Screw it.
Holding bar, guys. It could be on new.
They're gonna be on new.
Yeah, pray me.
Nick, look bar inner for me. Bar, Namel's dead.
I'm on new.
it's kind of crazy the two different levels you have to their communication. It's like, you know, when they kill everybody and they're coming off a spawn, it's kind of slow, controlled, talking about stuff. As soon as they get to the gunfights and know where people are, it's just here, like over and over and over again. And it's like interesting to me that works for these guys, but they're one of the teams that's most effective in trading. So, I mean, they're getting it done. I sometimes don't like when callouts get repeated so many times, but everyone's doing it and it's working for everybody.
And there's no let up. I mean, that sounded like a team that, you know, they're playing in a very close game. The score's 250 to 57. Yeah, you're sitting in the chair. You don't even realize the game's over. I mean, that game went quick.
Well, it's actually, it's funny because I asked them yesterday about the Game 1 breakout versus EG, and I was like, can you be honest with me? I was talking to Classic and Saints. I was like, did you guys get lulled to sleep a little bit? Because you're up, you know, 180 to 5 or whatever it is at one point. I was like, did you get lulled to sleep because EG started to come back into it? Did you take your foot off the gas? And they were like, hell no, we didn't. It's like, we were trying to bury them. We were going for a record victory there. We wanted to embarrass them. So it's not that I guess I was surprised to hear that, but I think that's what you need to hear from a team that wants to be continuous champions.
When you're that good, that's what you want to do. You want to, as bad and mean as it sounds, it's like you go into the hard point, you get a big lead, you want to put them away. You want to embarrass them. You want to beat them bad. You want to really kind of set the tone for the rest of the series. Like, you win that game 1 in a fashion like this. Let's say if that was game 1. For the rest of the series, that's in EG's head. It's like, oh man, we just got stumped. Like, we don't stand a chance going forward. Like, it just sets the tone for the remainder of the match.
Okay. So here we are. This is so important for Evil Geniuses. They've been perfect in Search and Destroy. It all comes down to this Game 5. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is our first Game 5 of the red group. We've kicked off Stage 2 this weekend, $700,000 on the line. EG right there. You got a shot of the squad. Parasite, new to the team. They're perfect in Search and Destroy. They're going up against the best team in the world in LG. A victory here could help cement them in the top 2 for this weekend to play in the playoffs. Can they get it done when it matters most?
Would be such a big win. Because obviously you'd play the odds. You don't think that Mind Freak or Fnatic can take out LG. So you look at it, and EG's in a very good spot. They win the series.
I said before this weekend that not only would LG not lose the series, but no one would take 2 maps off them. I felt confident. Like 2 maps in 1 series.
Yeah.
EG has done just that. And that wasn't to really knock the other teams. I just thought LG's form was...
They were that far ahead.
Yeah,
I thought they were that far ahead. I mean, this team has looked so good. Stage 1 playoffs, and then at Anaheim, you did not think there was going to be any slowdown. And really, I don't think there has been. It's just been a few maps they've just gotten really outplayed in. I mean, you see the Search and Destroy Game 2, EG just comes out world class in that game mode. They're able to take it. Game 3, that's the biggest shock here for me, but you just see how they bounce back in that retaliation hardpoint, blowing the doors off of EG, 250 to 57.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Throwback, so impressive. I mean, from the performance Havoc did, but I think what stands out the most is not the fact it was a victory, but the fact they held LG to 1 point. And yes, does EG play at a tempo where we've seen lower scoring games? Yeah, I mean, they can't play at the tempo LG does. I mean, Havoc was, in the sense that he was flying around the map, he certainly was, but they're not going to have games where they put up 10 to 15 points a lot of times. But there, I mean, just think about it. I don't know, I guess I'm just impressed that you controlled the game that well for 10 minutes without really scoring that much. It's just they kept it at the 50-yard line or better really throughout the course of the game.
Just keep trading the kills. You have the lead, don't need to put points on the board. You can just kind of play the clock at that time. So I do really like the way EG played that. And I think going into this Game 5, we talked about it. EG undefeated in this game mode, Search and Destroy, would be a real gut punch. If they force this Game 5 and they end up losing it, and it's like the only one they lose the entire weekend.
Yeah, well, it's like, think about LG. They got the monkey off their back with kind of winning a Game 5 and winning around 11. They talked about that back in what was that week 4 of Stage 1 when they did it against the United. I think it was the final series when they were able to win that Game 5. They hadn't really won any Game 5s. They hadn't been winning much Search to that point. Now they've improved there mightily. But you're going up against an EG team that's been stellar in that, and we expected to be stellar since this team was created. But this is a map where LG, God, this is not the Search map I'd want to be playing them on. We know how good they are in defensive retakes, man.
You see Nogafin goes inside with the sniper rifle. We've seen him do this time and time again. He just tries to get players flying out at the A-bomb site. His teammates go over, they stack B. So see if Nogafin, he spots one. Oh, the timing though. Saints there able to clean up that kill. It's Nogafin behind Slack there.
I think this is a map where you can force more 4-on-4 gunfights than you can on something like a Retail or a Throwback. Like, you can just fly at them, and that's, I think, going to heavily favor Luminosity just from their strong suits in Search and Destroy. And right there, you saw it. Yes, that first pickup was the big one, but even after that, they just steamrolled them.
And we have a lot of footage of EG on this map. We've seen Nogafin go inside, snipe that a lot of times on offense. So obviously, if we've seen it, no Luminosity has watched this footage as well. They have an idea of what's coming from this EG squad on this map.
Well, Nogafin going to continue. Nope, I take it back. He's going to swap over the K-bar. Last second switch. And they are going to do a... Okay, this is where it gets scary. Because a 4-on-4 gunfight, you favor LG every single time. And this is just people flying at each other. First one goes to Classic. They've got them all pinned and backed them all up immediately. I mean, they're just running for their lives. Parasite at least picks up a kill. Slack Dancer's right back. Can EG keep efficiently trading here? Ooh, almost across mid. But you're going to take LG to win that initial fight every time.
Without a doubt. You see the aggressive play. As soon as Luminosity gets one, they just keep charging forward. It's going to be Havoc trying to pick up the kill there on Slack. Not able to do so. 2 rounds in a row, both to Luminosity to kick off Game 5.
I guess what would you do if you were EG? If you know that's typically on defense, we see Luminosity, they're very strong at just making sure they have 4 up and getting a 4-on-4 retake, regardless of what side it is. On offense, a lot of times we'll see them kind of just fly forward and take the 4-on-4 fight. What can EG do to, I mean, is sniping the best idea here with how LG is going to be attacking you?
I don't think so. I think you want to, I was actually going to suggest, I think you're trying to play in here towards the A site. You're able to get it down. you can watch this pretty easily. You're going to force LG's still going to come at you. They're still going to fight you, but you have a little bit of an advantage in terms of, the terrain you're fighting in, right? I mean,
it's not as open, right? Not as many sight lines.
They're going to be coming through close quarters areas, small doorways. There's only a few entrances they can come from.
Well, Nameless tags up a couple here from L and backs down. Repeaks, nice job. Wants to challenge yet again. There's a flanker that comes through. This is perfect. They've split up the attack from LG and picked them apart. That was fantastic. I think that was absolutely just answering to what they saw in the first round from LG and answering.
So now you think next time EG goes on offense, we'll talk a little bit about it, but you think on the defensive side for LG, they'll probably stack inside. So then maybe you have the opportunity to go over towards that outside lane a little bit easier, or I actually would probably say just go hit that mid-map. I think you would hit mid-map against them and probably take advantage of it.
As long as Octane's not holding.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when they go on offense.
Because I know Octane mentioned that yesterday, is like they hit us mid-map and flanked really quick the one time. I think it was Mind Freak, I believe. They did it really fast. It didn't happen again because Octane just held it like a turret. But it was a first blood from Octane. A second kill from Octane is now he's slowly building towards an ace here in round 4. They're starting to push forward. It is going to be a 3v2. Classic, the only one that's dropped for Luminosity.
Now LG gets bombed down, forces EG into the same situation, but Nagafin with the NV4 jumps up top on the bridge, able to handle Slack quick, forces a 2v2.
Octane still working on the ace in this round. Next one in front, he's tagged up. He's just going to lay down and leave it for his teammate Saints. He does just that. What a beautiful play there. Just trust your teammate, go prone. If he flies up and challenges and drops right away, the round doesn't go that way. Heads up play from Octane and even better stuff from Saints to make sure he finds the first kill and tags the second.
EG, they've been undefeated in S&D so far through the weekend. Here in a Game 5 against Luminosity, they find themselves down.
Yeah, I think I would have favored EG on every other map. Every map at this.
So let's see how, if I was a betting man, I would have said, yep, LG goes in towards A. This is where I would have just forced towards the middle of the map. You would have been able to, you would have had like a 3-on-2.
But look at Octane though. Like that's the problem. When you have, even if it's just Octane, look where he is at number 5 on the minimap. He's just holding pipes there, sitting back with an NV4.
Even if you trade it out 1-for-1, you still have to, they still have to spread out.
That's true.
There's so much area for those 3 players to watch. I still think you like your chances.
And that's a position he'll play a lot, so Octane can see the cross if they push towards B. They lead in with the Scarab. They kind of bait out the nades. As soon as the nades go away, they fly in. So there they go. They're going to push. They'll try to find. There's another Scarab that actually comes through. Nameless's trophy actually picks up Classic as it blows up. A little bit of an unfortunate sequence of events. There's a flanker coming in. So number 1, it's going to be Nagafin coming from behind. Naga should be shooting multiple in the back. He actually can't finish the kill. Saints gets it. Octane lives, and there's a defuse. They are so good at retaking on this map.
That's what they love to play.
Especially at that site, man.
And you think, if you're a slower team, right, your strategy's not really working out, what's one way to force you to go in as a team? The clock, counting down, right? They have to go. There's no option for them not to go. And right there, I think Naga actually spots Octane. He puts a few shots in him, doesn't see, I believe, Saints like on the bomb. He comes around the corner, and Saints able to pick it up.
I thought Nagafin's flank, just looking at the minimap, I thought he was going to get 2 easy kills, but it's obviously tough to see the angles when just looking at the map. But here we go, 4-1 edge for Luminosity. EG's done a good job taking 2 maps in this series. Could go a long way in any kind of tie scenario if there were to be a 3-way tie, but it is just a cluster right now. Kills back and forth. Suddenly it's Nameless by himself. He's in a 1v1. He's tagged up. Saints pushes him and he's gone. I think he was dead regardless. I believe he was 1 bullet there and just got kind of stuck in an awkward position trying to get back on the wall run. But even when it's closer, it just seems like this is the exact fight where LG wants. All right, you want 8 of us stacked in a 10-by-10 circle where we're fighting each other? 10-by-10 square? I don't know how
they'll do
10-by-10 circle.
They'll do that all day long. Now LG up 5-1, Saints 9-1 this moment in time. It's really bounced back after that rough uplink. LG 1 round away from giving EG their first loss in S&D and taking this series.
And Saints, he didn't have a great uplink. He's having one hell of a game 5. 9-1, very early reactive armor to work with. Parasite, who was a hero in the S&D, their first series of the day, dropping 15 kills, is having a rough one. He's 1-5.
Well, to be fair, Nameless is really the only one that showed up here.
Oh, yeah, no, it's everybody, but specifically Parasite's had some delicious search games. today. And look, Saints is about to pick up a Trinity rocket as well, unless his teammates clean everybody up. Last player up, reactive popped. LG brings it back, wins the final 2 maps, and they remain undefeated. But I still think, I mean, it's impressive. I believe EG has played LG really well outside of, what, 2 hard points? You have the game 1 from day 1 and the game 4 in this series. Other than that, man,
they played them very strong. And I think EG, you know, you're undefeated in Search and Destroy. It's really what you built this team around. You'll come into the weekend, you get that game 5 you worked so hard for. Yeah, blown out 6-1.
I'd be curious to hear the guys on the desk, their thoughts about maybe how EG could flip that map in their favor, because LG is just so good there when it comes to their ability. And when the bomb gets planted, if there are 4 people up from each team, they're brilliant at just flying in, trading kills effectively, and winning the round. I'm just wondering if some E3 could have thrown something different. EG could have thrown something different at him.
Yeah, it's a tough map draw for EG. Obviously, like you were saying, you know, it's a map where you can force a lot of gunfights, 4v4. No, really, I mean, you're not going to run down the middle of the map, although I thought it would have been a decent call from the side of EG.
Just Octane's so scary.
You're not going to run straight down. You really have 2 lanes, and they're going to force those gunfights on either of those lanes. Definitely goes towards LG strengths.
Well, that's enough from us, and that's day 2 in the books. But to break it down, I do want to hear what the guys at the desk think. Christopher Puckett, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, fellas. All 4 matches here on day 2 are now finished, and we know that LG has come out of 2 days of group play unscathed. Guys, this one went to a game 5, though. Were you ever nervous for Luminosity? We'll start with you, Joe.
No, I was not ever nervous. I just felt like they were going to continue to just grind out the series, get it to a game 5 again. Their S&D has just gotten better and better, and they did pull that Crusher for game 5, and Crusher's just been like a staple map for them. They're so good at it. It's so hard to stop sort of their 4-man pushes. Just a great job out of Luminosity.
As we take a look here at the total breakdown of Group Red so far, how surprised are you guys to see that Fnatic is in that number 2 spot after 4 matches?
For me, it's always been a kind of a test between those bottom 3, to state the obvious, but I thought going into this, it would be between Fnatic and EG. The last game, obviously, we saw Fnatic and Mindfreak. One of them had to win. You know, it had to end in this way. They couldn't all be tied. But Fnatic, they can't just kind of take the foot off the gas. It's all about tomorrow for them. This group is not done until the last game tomorrow.
And TP, when we look at the map win percentage, that's really the tiebreaker. If there is a 3-way tie, we use that map win percentage. But Mindfreak, they're really in a hole. 3-9, that is not going to cut it at the end of 3 days. They need to step it up. And EG, I think we're going to be looking back tomorrow and say, how important was this matchup against Luminosity? Were you surprised to see them get 2 wins here?
Not too surprised, to be honest. Again, going back to that first hard point, I thought if LG took that one, well, they're guaranteed a map number 4, which is another hard point. LG's just not going to lose it, in my opinion. But EG looking very strong. The thing that's impressed me the most is their uplink consistency. I feel like they've done such a good job of playing ones in scenarios and not forcing things. I feel like LG's done kind of a bad job throughout the group thus far of their uplinks, just trying to force the drone forward a little bit too quickly rather than focusing on kills. So EG looking pretty strong. He's going to go into tomorrow, and they're probably my favorite to take 2nd place.
All right, they're 1-3 right now. They have to win both of their matches tomorrow if they want a chance, and of course they'll be cheering against Fnatic in those games. Here's a look at the battles that will begin at 2 p.m. here on Sunday. We got Fnatic going up against Luminosity, a huge opportunity for Fnatic to lock in that number 2 spot. Otherwise, it's going to come down to how Mindfreak plays EG. Mindfreak versus Luminosity probably won't have too much of an effect on the group, but the final one, 6:30 p.m., we are going to seal the deal. Fnatic versus Evil Geniuses. Which 2 teams will be moving on to play for the $500,000? We have a good feeling it's going to be Luminosity. The second one, that's a toss-up, boys. I think that's going to wrap it for day number 2. We want to thank everybody for watching the Call of Duty World League presented by PlayStation 4. This is stage 2. This is Group Red. We had so many epic moments, and we will continue all of the action live 2 p.m. Eastern on MLG.TV and everywhere else you can watch Epic Esports.